the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast, coming to you from the MGM Grand Hotel in the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Ladies and gentlemen, from the beautiful Ziegfeld Room, tonight's star-studded roast has brought together some of the world's greatest entertainers. They've come from all over the world to be here tonight, here in Las Vegas in person, joining Dean Martin as he honors tonight's very special Man of the Hour, Ted Knight. With tonight's guests, Jimmy Stewart, Georgia Engel, Julie McWhirter, Ed Asner, Red Button, Lewanda Paige, Paul Williams, Gavin MacLeod, Jackie Mason, Harvey Corman, Foster Brooks, Jimmy Walker, Scatman Crothers, Jack Carter, Orson Welles, Kelly Monteith, your roastmaster, Dean Martin, and tonight's Man of the Hour, Ted Knight.
Although you all know our guest of honor as Ted Knight, he was born of Polish parents, and his real name is Tadeusz Waldecki Konopka. Let me spell it. It's Tadeusz Ted grew up in Terryville, Connecticut, and life wasn't easy for this poor Polish kid. Every morning he got up in the cold New England winters and walked 5 miles to school and 5 miles back at night. Why he did this, we'll never know, because the school was right next door to his house. And in 1944, Ted was the first GI to attack Berlin. And believe me, Irving wasn't too happy about it. He joined a dramatic group in Hartford, Connecticut. Not only did Ted get bad reviews, but Hartford canceled his life insurance. In spite of everything, he has no friends. He's so lonesome, I could die. Last week, he bought 2 CB radios so he could talk to himself. Yeah, people ask me, where are the new comedians coming from? Well, this one is coming from my left. Very funny guy, the star of television's Good Times, Mr. Jimmy Walker.
Thank you, Dean. Well, here I am, the Black Prince, honoring the Ted Knight, the White Knight. Dean was just saying that Ted was of Polish descent, and Polish people are really very proud of Ted. He's just received the highest Polish award last year, called the Golden Sausage Award, for being Poland's Joke of the Year. Ted's a funny guy, man. In fact, he told me he plans to continue in showbiz after Mary Tyler Moore goes off the air. Doesn't know what he'll do after the Gong Show, though. Ted, as you can see right here, has a magnificent head of gray hair. I mean, it is really beautiful. And inside every silver lining, there is a cloud. An insurance company wanted to use Ted's head as their trademark to go along with their slogan, get a piece of the rock. And a lot of people say that Ted's dumb. He's not that dumb. psychiatrist just gave Ted one of those experimental IQ tests. Ted did so well, they said they're gonna try it on mice. And Ted's versatile voice, as we all know when Ted speaks, Ted has a great voice that enables him to do many voiceovers in many movies. And few people know that Ted was the famous Francis the Talking Mule. And critics have said that Ted made the perfect ass.
Funny, wonderful man, Mr. Harvey Corman.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know, I'm really glad to be here. I'm always amazed to come here to the great MGM Grand Hotel. I mean, I can't believe this. It has a pool, it has a movie theater, a highlight place, an entire shopping center, 5 restaurants, and over 2,100 rooms covering over 2.5 million square feet. Can you imagine that? All that space, and Dean sleeps on a cot behind the bar. You know, in fact, Ted, it doesn't really sound right for Ted and I to have a roast, does it? I mean, it should be like a fish fry or something. Now, it is true. He is a wonderful guy, but Ted is a little tight with money. This is true. And he has a very ingenious way of writing his home off as a business expense. First of all, it's a church. Ted, you do have a great way of cutting corners. Really, he invites 20 people over for dinner, for instance, and he makes dinner for 10. See? Then you start off the evening with a rousing game of musical food. He serves 2 types of wine with his dinner. You have the 30 cents a glass and the 40 cents a glass. I had 2 cocktails before dinner. I wanted to have a 3rd one. I really wanted a cocktail, but I ran out of dimes for the vending machine. Actually, I didn't run out of dimes. I wanted to save a dime in case I had to go to the bathroom. Well, what am I talking about? Look at me. I'm doing a roast for Ted Knight.
You'll get it.
Shows you how far I've slipped. Anyway, before I go, I want you to know that really, seriously, I want to tell you that it took great personal sacrifice for me to come here and appear on this roast tonight. I was truly hoping and praying that I could go through my whole life without ever meeting Ted Knight again.
Ladies and gentlemen, Julie McWhirter.
But listen, the reason I'm here tonight, Ted, is because so many of your good television friends couldn't be with you due to a very important previous commitment. They're attending a Tupperware party at Paul Lynn's house. But I'm here to tell you what they would have said had they been able to be here. Now, Rhoda would have said, "Hey, this is terrific. Me on a Dean Martin roast." Listen, Ted, my kid sister Brenda wants to add her congratulations on this terrific evening here. Go ahead, Bryn, speak to the creep.
Oh, wow, Ro. Don't be so hard on Ted. Frankly, he appeals to me in a strange sort of way. Listen, there's someone else here, Ted, who would like to add her good wishes. Go ahead, Georgette.
Hi, Teddy Bear. I'm so happy to see you're having such a big night. On the show, you and I have been married for quite a while, and I've never had a big night.
guy with a comedy style that's really off the wall. I don't know what that means, but here he is, Jackie Mason.
How do you do? As you probably noticed, I'm not wearing a tuxedo because I'll be honest with you, I don't believe in this show. I didn't want to be here. I'm sorry I showed up. I don't know Ted Knight. I never liked Ted Knight. I met Ted Knight before the show. He said hello. I wasn't too crazy about it. He looked at me. They told me he's Polish. I don't believe it. Polish people don't look like that. I'm not going to make fun of the Polish people because I love the Polish people. My best friend is a guy half Polish, half Jewish. He's a janitor, but he owns the building. But I don't judge a man by his religion. I don't judge a man by his color. Like J.J. Walker. He's a wonderful kid. God bless him. I won't say a word against him. I don't say against anything black. A black person I don't pick on, because this is their season. I see a black guy today, I give him everything. And if he don't want it, I say, go ahead. If he don't want it, I buy him some. I got into a taxi today. I saw a black driver. I said, do me a favor, take me wherever you want. I'll go over there. I'm paying tribute to a guy I don't like. I'm taking a big chance, and J.J. Walker pays tribute to him, too. How do you know? How do you know how he feels about black people? Most people who look like him don't even bother with black people. That's right. Did you ever come to dinner to a guy who looks like this in his house? Don't lie. You never did. So why are you paying tribute to him? Did your wife ever say to you, guess who's coming to dinner? I took chances. I said whatever I wanted. You know why? Because I know Dean Martin doesn't even know I showed up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, from the bottom of my heart, I want to wish myself the very best of everything. I want to tell you that night, you know, everybody likes to finish these monologues by telling you that they were kidding, they were sorry, they picked on you. I wasn't kidding. I meant every word I said.
Ladies and gentlemen. Well, you wanted him, you got him, and you can have him, the beautiful Mr. Red Button.
So why is this man getting a dinner, ladies and gentlemen, when some of the biggest people in the history of the world never got a dinner? King Solomon, who said to his 1,000 wives, for better service, take a number. Never got a dinner. Socrates, who said when he drank the cup of hemlock, are you sure this is just a Pepsi test? Bert Parks' wife, Zelda Parks, who said to Bert when he returned from Atlantic City, do you mean to tell me this is the only job you could get the whole year? Never got a dinner. Norman Lear. Norman Lear, who once said to Pope Paul, if you should ever decide to do a series, Betty Ford, who said to Rosalind Carter, no, there are no cockroaches in the kitchen. Mary who said to her servant when he brought her the head of John the Baptist on a tray, "For this you used the good silver"? Amelia Earhart, who once said, "Stop looking for me, see if you can find my luggage." Never got a date.
Our next guest, Lewanda Paige. So let's give this gal a great big hand because she is beautiful, wonderful.
Thank you, Dean. You know, folks, it's so nice being a television personality. Not only do I like having people recognize me when I'm walking down the street, but I don't have to do floors anymore. Which means when he fall down, I don't have to pick him up.
You can pick me up anytime, baby.
Back off, you hot hunky. You touch me, baby, and George Foreman will stop by your house one night and sit on your car. With you in it. But it's a real thrill to be here tonight, standing between this Polish loser and this Italian boozer. But truly, it's a real pleasure for me to meet you, because although I've seen your show on TV a lot of times, but I've never met you in person. Man, are you white. And honey, let me tell you another thing. You more than just white. You 5 feet 10 inches worth of chalk. Which means that we could make a terrific team, because everybody knows that chalk goes good with a blackboard, honey.
Don't you mean black broad? Oh, sorry.
That's a board. Cool it, you Sicilian sex machine. And besides, I want to make a move because I'm sick of Red Fox calling me ugly. I hear what you're saying, Jimmy Walker. I am not ugly. I've just picked an unusual way of being beautiful.
Orson Welles came in tonight with a cute little blonde on his arm, Paul Williams. One of the most prolific and important songwriters in the country today. This is a great man, Mr. Paul Williams.
I was sitting over here, just a kind of a swell little guy, kind of minding his own business on my pile of telephone books. Ted sings. Not really. He kind of produces a sound, really. It's not a singing. I think he gets it from rubbing his hind legs together. But he has a giant heart, and I must tell you that, you know, it may not be funny, but it's honest, and from all of us, you mean nothing, Ted.
and gentlemen, one of Hollywood's most distinguished talents, Ed Asner.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you very, very much. Perhaps you're wondering why Mary Tyler Moore isn't here tonight. You see, we tossed a coin, and I lost. Now, I have always found that Polish jokes are in poor taste, till I met Ted. It's been 7 years I've had to live with this man. It's been hard and toilsome, but I've enjoyed every minute of it. Well, almost every minute of it. And I just want to say thanks.
Mr. Ed Asner, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody knows Ted Knight plays a TV anchorman on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, but you may not know Ted was a TV reporter in his hometown for real. With us tonight, a newscaster who worked with Ted, now the owner of KTER in Terryville, Connecticut. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Foster Hinkle.
Ted, I guess your old hometown TV station looks small to you now. As a matter of fact, it is. We didn't have a big audience. Most of the time, the pigeons wouldn't even sit on our antenna. We still sign off around 9 o'clock. Most folks turn off before that. Ed and I were quite a news team. He was green, but he was eager. I'd read the football scores, and Ted would just stand there waving his pom-poms. I broke him in slow. His first assignment was, I believe, was to cover a fire. Remember, Ted? By the time he found the place, the fire was out. That didn't bother Ted. He started it again. Like everybody, Ted has had his share of problems. When World War II broke out, he had a terrible experience with the U.S. Army. They took him. A lot of you have been making jokes about how dumb Ted is. But I don't agree, because once, while working for a newspaper, Ted printed an article saying that the man was dead. Next day, the man called and was very much alive and demanded that Ted retract the statement. Ted told him, our newspaper never retracts, but I can put you in the birth column tomorrow and give you a fresh start.
It's a
beautiful human being, a wonderful pal of mine, and I love him, Mr. Jimmy Stewart.
You know, many of you here recognize Ted Knight as a talented actor. Many of you, I'd say more than that, maybe a whole bunch of you recognize him. But has anyone recognized this man as a dedicated actor? No? Well, if you look it up in your old Funkin' Wagnall, you'll find that the first meaning of the word dedicated is to be committed. But another definition of dedicated is ardent, persistent, willing to do anything for what you believe. And back in 1965, we were making a Civil War picture called Shenandoah. And in those days, Ted believed he was a great actor. And now, Shenandoah was a story about a Confederate family that was torn by the war. And I played the part of a father with 6 young sons. And we were casting for the juveniles, and Ted Knight bounced in. And at first I thought maybe he was going to try out for the part of General Robert E. Lee, but I should have guessed otherwise for 2 reasons. One, his hair was jet black. He just reeked of Grecian formula. And when I pointed out that the role called for a teenager, he admitted that he was looking forward to his 20th birthday. And before I could tell him that he was facing in the wrong direction, he whipped out a scrapbook full of what he said were rave stage reviews. And they might have been rave stage reviews. I just never could read Polish. He confessed that he hadn't had an acting job in 3 years. So when I asked him why he didn't give up acting, he said, how can I? It's my living. So when he got up to leave, I gave him some advice. I told him to just act natural, just be himself. And to this day, that's just what he is. And I'm sorry, Ted. That's the worst advice I ever gave anyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, a real down-to-earth entertainer. A great guy. Scatman Crothers.
Yeah.
High time that I met Ted Knight face to face, because for years I used to go with his sister, Gladys. I was one of her first pips. You see, I do know a whole lot about Ted. As a garbage man, if you really want to find out about a cat, you got to check his trash, because you are what you throw out. And Ted has been thrown out of more places than anybody. Now, everybody knows that Ted is pretty conceited, but it takes the garbage man to find out just how conceited you really are. Now, you see, most people put their addresses on their garbage can. This cat's got his picture. Tell you what else I found in this cat's trash can. A learner's permit for a sex therapy course. This man has got some ugly trash. I ain't had nothing that ugly on my truck since I picked up Lewanda Paige at a bus stop. Don't worry. I'll take Lewanda back to the room right after dinner in a doggy bag.
A fine actor and a wonderful man, Mr. Gavin MacLeod.
Well, Ted, I can't deny, and no one else here can deny, that you're a famous man. I mean, I see your picture on magazine covers. I see you on talk shows. You know, he's even on display at the Hollywood Wax Museum. Get there early. He leaves at 9. If you miss him, go over to Grauman's Chinese Theater. They have his footprints in silly putty. Well, I've said a lot of things about Ted in our newsroom on the show. But there's one thing I've never said. I'll miss you when you're not around. You are full of joy, love, wonder, and I like you. You have made the past 7 years for me, personally, boring.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of my very favorite people and one of the prettiest, Miss Georgia Engel.
Whenever I'm on these roasts, they ask me to think of some really rough singers. But I'm not so good, and I can't think of anything zingy. So once again, the staff gave me some mean things to say about the guests here on the dais. Some slams, some heavy hits, and some put-down shtick. Okay? Here's the first rap. I'm glad to see Jimmy Walker of Good Times here tonight. Have you ever seen a body so skinny? Do you know he entered the Mr. America contest and they took away his citizenship? Was that a zinger?
Yeah, you really wiped him out, boy.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry, Mr. Walker. I didn't mean to say that. I saw you this morning at the hotel pool in your bathing trunks, and you shouldn't worry about how you look. There are at least 2 or 3 other fellows who looked almost as bad as you do. Here's my next singer. There's red buttons over there. It's really amazing. Red's hair looks the same today as it did 30 years ago. Dyed. Why did you make me say a thing like that, Mr. Button? Your hair looks very natural to me, especially the great part that you missed. I'm glad to see Paul Williams sitting on the dais. He's the only one here whose hair is longer than he is. I shouldn't pick on you like that, Mr. Williams. After all, you're a giant in your field, even if you happen to be a short giant. And now we come to our guest of honor, my very good friend, Ted Knight. Ted Knight is really a success. One of the toy companies is coming out with a Ted Knight doll. You wind it up and the head gets bigger. You know I never would have said that, Teddy Bear.
I know.
Ted and I have been working together for 5 years now, and I know his head couldn't get any bigger. Thank you. I hope I haven't said anything bad about anybody. That's it for the singers.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is one of the brightest young comedians in nightclubs and television today, Mr. Kelly Monteith.
Always a pleasure to be in Vegas, the gambling capital of the world. Actually, it's the tipping capital of the world, which you probably know. You tip for everything up here, right? Go crazy. People knock on your door. Sun's up. Thank you. Here's $1. Appreciate it. But I appreciate being invited up here to honor this man, Mr. Ted Knight. Fine man. They've been joking about your Polish ancestry all night, which I really admire and I really respect in somebody, because I really have no ethnic background in a sense. I'm Scots-Irish, although I have no real sense of ethnic identity. You know, I wasn't raised in a strong ethnic environment. There was no Irish spoken around the house. A little Scotch now and then, but that's about it. Because I know the road to success you took was very difficult. Ted's a very successful television star now, and which is a very difficult thing to do. You know, it sounds easy, but it's very, very hard to be a success in this business. It requires an immense amount of persistence and determination. Get to the job and work those terrible little clubs. I remember those clubs in Lubbock and Shreveport, little strip clubs that you start out in. Worked in one in Georgia once. First one I ever worked. I walked in. There's a guy getting beat up in the corner. First thing I saw. Every night there was a guy getting beat up in the clubs. House policy. They just pull a guy out and beat him up. Working on a show with strippers. You ever work with strippers? I'm sure you must have worked with strippers in those places.
No.
Lubbock? Never did. I worked with them, which I enjoyed, actually. I worked with one stripper, I remember, that hated to be called a stripper. Some of them didn't like that word stripper for some unknown reason. I remember I went backstage, and I was the MC. I had to introduce her, so I asked her, I said, you the stripper on the show? And she got incensed. I'm not a stripper. You get that straight right now, Buster. I'm a dancer. I'm an artist. And I'd come on, and they didn't want to hear me in those clubs. They were all guys. All men come in. They don't want to see me. Something about those clubs, boy, when men change when they get in big groups. I used to watch them. The most sophisticated man in the world would walk in that club, boy, 20 seconds later to be an animal. I want to see something naked. You're damn right, boy. I want to see a chicken, a donkey, a goat. Hell, I don't care. As long as it's naked, bring it out here. I'll look at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the magnificent Orson Welles.
Guest of honor tonight, Ted Knight, is a big hit on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, as everybody knows. He's also a realist. And he knows that all good things must come to an end. Eventually, the day will come when they will not pay him $5,000 a week just for saying the words, "Hi, Mayor." Realizing this, Ted has fixed a beady blue eye on the future. He's had the good sense to leave in my box at the hotel desk a screenplay of a Western movie, which he wrote as a starring vehicle for himself, and which he would like me to direct. And actually, I think Mr. Knight is not off the mark much when he desires to be a Western hero. You know, traditionally, some of our biggest box office stars have been those individuals with cold, steely eyes, exteriors hard as nails, and that lethal ability to kill. I'm talking about people like John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, Barbara Streisand, any of those tough guys. So I decided for my own entertainment to read Mr. Knight's Western. Besides, what else is there to do here in the daytime? After all, Las Vegas is not exactly the culture capital of the world. Where else could you find the famed statue of Venus de Milo with a bronze plaque that says, "This broad's arm was busted for not paying off Bruno the bookie"? I like that. That last scene, after you're tragically shot in a most horrendous way, in the back. As they bury you, the preacher reads a final tribute over your remains. Adios, Sheriff Knight, you fought a good fight. But if you're no longer alive, it's all your own fault that you lie in the vault, because you sat on your Colt 45, and that smarts. Thank you.
Orson Welles. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to laugh at Mr. Willie Tyler and Lester.
Hey, by the way, who's the dude with the light hair to our left over here? Don't you know who that is? No, man, they all look alike to me. Talk about Ted Knight. I'll talk about Ted Knight. Hey, you used to be a ventriloquist, right, baby?
Right.
Right? Ventriloquist, right? Can you talk like this? Like this? Let me see you do it, Ted. You can do it. I know you can do it. Come on. Ted can do it. No, Ted Knight, he's actually an excellent ventriloquist, folks, and he had to quit because of illness. He quit being a ventriloquist because of illness? Yeah, you see, his dummy got sick of him.
Willie Tyler and Lester. And you were great. Our next guest is very unusual. Last year, this person was Mr. Richard Raskin, a nationally ranked male tennis player. And this year, that very same person is Miss Renee Richards, a world-class female tennis player. It's amazing what a little practice can do. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most talked about people of today, Miss Renee Richards.
Thank you, Dean. It's nice to be here with you and all these ladies and gentlemen and anyone in between. In case you're wondering why I'm here tonight, it's quite simple. Ted Knight and I have a lot in common. For one thing, we both changed our names. But most important, because Ted's a sports buff, and we happened to meet on the tennis court the other morning. I had the feeling that Ted didn't know who I was, because he opened up with his typical greeting, "Hi, guy." I finally told Ted that I'm Renee Richards, but I used to be Richard Raskin. It didn't faze Ted a bit. All he said was, "Richard Raskin? Funny, you don't look Jewish." It's been a pleasure for me to be here tonight to honor Ted Knight. I've always been a big fan of Ted's, and so is Richard.
Good friend of mine, and everybody else, Mr. Jack Carter.
I'm delighted to be here, and especially see the Dean made it here, because just 3 a.m. this morning, 2 guys rolled him. Isn't that awful? Well, that's the only way you can get him back to his room, you know. But he is beautiful. He is really something, and I'm delighted to be here. This is a biggie. What a night. My gosh. Jimmy Walker, Red Buttons, Jimmy Stewart, Orson Welles. First time I've been to a dinner where the speakers are more important than the guest of honor. See, the fabulous Red Buttons, not only a great comedian, but a charitable man who goes all over the world entertaining the unfortunates. The unfortunates are the people that have to listen to him. But I'm the only one who knows why he committed suicide in Sayonara. You know why he committed suicide in Sayonara? Because the Japanese wouldn't give him a dinner. The Japanese never gave him a dinner. And you know why the Japanese never gave me a dinner? You want to know why? Because when they saw his act, they lost their appetite. Think how how close Ted Knight came to missing show business, how he starved in Chicago, how he worked as a busboy, he worked as a waiter. He tried everything. Finally, in desperation, I go home. I go back to Warsaw. I go back to Warsaw now, Poland. Jedynie gubernia, kanapkę Helerio Puczki. And he saved up $800. He went to airport, put down on counter. Hello, lady, TWA. $800, you give me ticket, huh? I go Warsaw. I want to fly to Warsaw now. Ahoy, doi, doi, chudzkie panie ticket now. Hoi, doi, szybkie zagoj, halaj, dai. Chudzkie panie mają doze. She said, you can dance all you want. You're a nickel short. He was desperate. He walked around the airport. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he went up to a strange man. He said, hey, mister, you give me nickel, I go to Poland. The guy said, here's the quarter. Take 4 guys with you, all right? In conclusion, if you had to change your name, Ted, why didn't you change it to Good? Then Dean Martin could have come out and said, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, good night. And we could have blown this whole stupid
Up now, Mr. Ted Knight, ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour. Stand up and move.
I know how everybody must feel. Believe me, if I wasn't busy being man of the hour tonight, I'd be right out there with you, honoring me. Tonight, the dinner is on me, guys. Seriously, in my room, everybody. Let's see, it's 2, 4, 6, 12, 18. I'll have to get the big bucket. Oh, it's great being up here, really. I love you old pros, and even you younger guys. Young men like Paul Williams has proven you don't have to be tall and handsome and sophisticated and witty to be short. Good old Ed Asner. Ed Asner. You're no fun at all, Ed, I gotta tell you right now.
Be thoughtful and hurry it up, will you?
Why don't we skip down to the last card so we can all go home?
I'm only kidding. You talk as long as you want.
Not after you say something like that, Dean. I'm going to stand up here.
I want you to talk as long as you want. We don't have to stay.
Scatman, Jimmy Walker, I'm glad you chose to come tonight. You especially, Scatman. Willie Tyler, Lewanda Paige. Brings back old memories to me, and this is the truth. I was raised by a black family. Please, no snickering. See, some of you question that. You think I'm fabricating, but it's true. A black family did raise me. When I was 8 years old, they found out I was white and sold me. You take a tip from me, Scatman. Don't let it stand in your way. The next time you audition for a job, don't tell them you're black. Orson Welles. Orson Welles. I must say I'm very pleased and flattered at your presence here this evening. And this is from my heart. A distinguished actor and a credit to our profession. I mean, you know, our careers have a somewhat similar course, you know. I've never done Othello or King Lear or Hamlet, but did you catch me on the Muppets? Thank you for being here tonight. I'm sorry I can't mention everybody's name. Time doesn't permit, but I'd like to, if you'll forgive me. Jack Carter, Dr. Richards, Red Buttons, if you'll forgive me if I lump you all together. But you gotta admit that's one hell of a lump.